Good. Aw, I wish I could take you with me to Meow Wolf. Well, I woke up feeling pretty decent. So it is the morning, and I need to give her water before I leave. She already peed and pooped. She did an excellent job today. Today it's mostly just going to Meow Wolf for a couple hours, then I'm going to come back, probably take her for a walk, and then go to the powwow for the final day. I want to watch the horse rider parade thing. I think it would be really cool if they had their horses decked out in all of those feathers and what they normally do, and I would love to see that and probably just spend more time in seeing their culture for their final day. I have made it. There's a lot of people online, but hopefully the fact that I bought my tickets online just allows me to skip that. No audio signal. So here, I'm gonna move my seat back a little bit. It's a little weird when the camera is so close, or it feels close, but I'm sure it gets everything. So I'm already out. I think I was inside for 30 minutes maybe, because there's a little bit of wait to get inside. I normally have pretty good eye contact, but when I have to stare at something like this, it just feels different. So anyways, I didn't know what to expect. I did read up a little bit about it, but I just kind of saw it as an exploring, abstract, possible mystery kind of thing. I think for me, the main reason I feel a little bit more negative about this visit than normal is because I don't feel like it's worth $30 for something like this. I feel like 30 is pretty high for what they have, but that also might be because I don't care that much maybe about abstract weird things. And also there was supposedly a mystery that you could kind of follow by reading mail or reading text or reading shit all that you see and kind of trying to understand or analyze it. But there is a lot of other people there with kids and everything, so I didn't have the patience to wait for people to read and then I would read it after them, because that would take so long, right? And I just wanted to take everything in. For something like this, I don't think I tend to go slow, especially because for me, a lot of it is you go in, you see it, and then that's it. I did really like the popping colors. It's nice to look at. I didn't want to stay there that much longer than necessary because I feel like if I did, I wouldn't be doing it because I wanted to. I would be doing it because I was like, oh, I drove here, I spent $30, I might as well stay longer. But if I leave, then I can better use my time for stuff that I actually want to do. So it is 11 o'clock. Maybe before I get back, I'll grab some lunch because I had McDonald's for breakfast. Anytime I have plans to go somewhere, I just can't make time to sit and eat breakfast. That's why I get stuff that I can just eat while driving. Something like this has so many good reviews to it, but I don't think that I should have really put meaning into those reviews because this is literally like movie reviews. Why am I trusting these people when their interest is nothing close to mine? And also, now that I mentioned movie reviews really quick before I head back, I actually watched a movie on the basis of sex yesterday. It is about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I know nothing about her, but I know she's one of the few females on the Supreme Court justice. I knew that she would be a very impressive woman because she's one of few, right? But the movie was really, really great because she definitely exhibited qualities that I anticipated that she would have, and I really find women like that extraordinary. Sometimes when it comes to the media and everything, it makes me personally feel like I'm being too feminist if I respect or admire what a woman is doing. She spent a lot of her career fighting for equal laws in terms of men and women, like no gender inequality. I feel like sometimes just rooting for a woman who is kind of fighting for, well, she was fighting for men and women in terms of making sure that it was equal, but sometimes just rooting for a woman who is doing something on the basis of gender maybe makes me feel like I'm being a feminist. And I think the media or social media has started to make feminism a bad thing, when I think they apply that word to certain situations that don't really make sense for it. So for example, free the nipple on Instagram, I'm pretty sure some people view that as feminism perhaps because they feel like women can't show it when men can, and that is not fucking feminism. Stupid rant. I will head on back. I am trying to stand behind some stuff so the wind doesn't really get in the way, but I decided to go on a spontaneous hike because every time I drive between cities, I'm like, there's so much open land and so pretty that I would love to explore it. So this time I was like, all right, I'm gonna find a hike in between Santa Fe and Albuquerque and just do a quick one by myself, because I feel like if I go back to the city, I really have nothing else to do aside from eating and going back to the powwow, which I don't want to go there too early. And if I wanted to go home and then take Riley out again, I just feel like that takes too much time because taking her hiking can be a long drive. I don't want to do close hikes near the city. So today is a good day for me to hike by myself once again. I think this one goes up higher in elevation, so it'll be nice to see all the sprawling land from up high, because I actually don't think I've done many hikes out here where I can see that far out. Apparently, these are petroglyphs. I kind of just chose this trail without looking at the name or anything, so I looked it up a little bit to try to find my way back, and people were talking about these and saying how these have been here for a very long time, so I didn't notice them on my way up, but they look actually pretty cool if it was done many, many, many years ago. Okay, so I just checked. These are apparently things carved into volcanic rock 400 to 700 years ago by Spanish settlers and Native Americans. So that is very cool. Hoppers. Good. You're not doing it. You're lame. Come on, Papa. Gonna eat some pho. I found a pho restaurant yesterday, but I don't remember the name exactly. Saigon Far East, I think. So this one, and then Coliseum. Yes, they're right next to each other. Excellent. Excellent. All right, time to get some food.
Head west on Trumbull Avenue Southeast toward Broadway Boulevard Southeast, then turn left onto Broadway Boulevard Southeast.
Interesting, I'm going a different direction than normal. Time to go. I am freaking hungry, and honestly, I need to eat more Asian food. It bums me out that I don't eat it that much, but for some reason, it feels like so much more effort to look for a place to eat because you're not familiar with the local restaurants, right? Whereas stuff like Panera, I just know their salad is always going to be the same everywhere I go. So hopefully their pho will be good. I am in line to get my parking ticket before I can park my car. I'm actually a little surprised that there is a line at this time of the day. I figured that if you're coming in the middle of the day, that most people come when it opens, but I am not good at predicting human behavior because I don't participate in a lot of these things. But the pho I had was delicious. It was very good. But the thing is, the outside looked really shady. Sometimes I maybe overly focus on the exterior of some places, but I was thinking in this day and age, some businesses are pretty lucky to have Yelp, even though Yelp is a scummy company, but they allow people like me to discover places like that, because if it wasn't for Yelp, I wouldn't have gone there. So my pho was really good. I actually thought the bowl was a little small. I was still a little bit hungry, so I could have had some more, but it was so tasty. I drank all the soup also. Maybe I would consider going back there. Well, would I? I don't know. Tomorrow I'm leaving in the morning, so I don't really think I'll have time to go eat there. So probably just eat pho again in San Diego when I have time.
Once again, this is your Albuquerque police force. I know the horses' names: Maximus, Justice, Rudy, and Samson right there. Thank you there, gentlemen. Thank you there. And yeah, if you have parking tickets, these guys will take care of it. Very symbol of perseverance, tenacity, and continuance. A big round of applause once again for Levi. And your flag, Eagle Singers. Vernon chooses to ride cowboy because of black horses or spiritual horses in the Navajo culture and called Sun Black Jewel. Vernon is wearing original Navajo warrior regalia, which starts with a cougar hat on his head. He carries his great-great-grandfather's bow and arrows. Vernon is traditional Navajo silver and turquoise jewelry clothing accessories. Gear. She is a 5th generation War Bond Society, currently a member of the War Bond Society of the Black Lodge District. She is a member of the Unity Youth Leadership Program. She not only holds the title of Miss Pro Nation, she held the title of 2015 Junior Miss Pro Nation, 2018 Miss Teen MSU Montana State University, and Centennial Pro Fair 2018. Black Lodge Rodeo Princess, she participates in cultural traditional activities, and she is a positive role model for all of you. Once again, a big round of applause for Anna Batman. My favorite symbol is the eagle plume on the very top. Eagle plumes are female and represent the females in my family, from my daughter to my great daughter. is placed on the highest point of the stack to honor me and to remind me as a Lakota leader I have to remember their words and advice in every decision that I make. I'm currently a relay rider and chooses to become competitive under the name of Bakayada, which translates cowboy in Western Show. Big applause for Trevor Beasley. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having an opportunity to share and appreciate a beadwork and the heritage of our Lakota people, relatives from around the world. Valerie Moran Rider, and also the horse.
Oh, my car says it's literally only 82 degrees outside, but it feels way hotter than that. I feel pretty sticky at least. But I am leaving. I came for about 2 hours. I think I've seen enough, and maybe I'll talk about it when I get home because I feel like my camera is gonna overheat. But I am gonna get some bubble tea. You know what's funny? It surprises me that Kung Fu tea is actually here. I didn't think they would be here, so I didn't search for them initially. I was gonna sample some other bubble tea place, but it seems like they're here. So they're actually kind of far from my Airbnb, about 20 minutes. But it's so early in the day, it feels like it's only almost 5, that I feel like I have a little bit of time to get some and then get my dinner and then come home. So I'm gonna do that and then probably finish my day out, at least, because I've been out since 9 a.m. and even though it's light out, sometimes I feel like, oh, I still gotta do stuff, I still gotta explore, but I don't know what I would explore here anymore, actually, aside from trails. And I am pretty tired. I've been out for a very long time, and I want to see my puppers for more than 30 minutes. So after I get my food, I will see her at home. Finally learned my lesson, and I am never leaving Kung Fu tea again without checking my order. This time they got it right. Mango jelly with mango green tea with mango jelly and bubbles. Feeling good. Now I pick up my Chinese food. Good. Wow. That was so graceful. Good. It was so nice to come back, and then once I pulled back the curtain, I see her like this ultimate relaxation. So I want to just quickly talk about the second day of the powwow. I wasn't there very long. Oh my god. So staying here, there have been a lot of bugs. There are tiny ants all over the floor, actually. I get kind of paranoid because when I see a black speck on the floor, I expect it to be a bug. So there is a fair amount of black specks that are moving and not moving, so that can be a little unsettling. But I also just saw another bug underneath the TV stand that's upside down and dead. There's also one in the bedroom that was upside down and doing this shit for a while, and I didn't want to help it because I am not pleased with the fact that there are bugs in this place. I know that that is inevitable, but I also do tend to feel like perhaps a nicer place would not have that issue. I've started realizing after a while that I feel like people just don't care there in terms of security. So I was sitting in my VIP section and I saw like a lot of people that seemed like casual civilians down on the ground level near the stage. So I decided to just walk down there and stand to the side and record and take pictures, and it was totally fine. So that is another thing that kind of sucked about paying for VIP, because honestly, I think I could have paid general admission and I could have stood on the floor because they don't check anything. I really don't think they checked anything. So that was neat. I liked seeing everyone up close. I saw the dancers up close. I saw their clothing up close compared to just from a distance, although there were a few of them that were wandering the grounds, so you could see that as well. But the thing I looked forward to was the horse parade, and it was mainly to see the horses, and it was nice to see them dressed up and painted and everything. But the parade was a little weird because some of the riders didn't seem like they had control of their horse. some of the horses didn't seem like they were trained to not be spooked by sounds. So one of the horses looked very unsettled by the sound of the drums, and another horse just seemed like they didn't really listen to their handler. They didn't really want to be there. So I am not focusing so much as like, oh, they're being mean to the horses. No, not really. But I just thought it was, I think for me, a horse parade, I expected them to be experienced riders, like good control of their horse, or at least some relationship with the horse. And they would walk through and just look like as one. But there were so many riders. There was even one rider where she was being led by a man on a horse, and I was like, ooh, what's going on here? Because she was holding on to one rein and then she was like waving with the other, and her horse was just being so like not very smooth and very subtle, sudden movements and stuff. Just, I was very surprised about that aspect. So there were certain horses that were great, trotting, like just prancing, getting their legs up, and it was really cool to see them all dressed up. Like some of their tails were braided, and they were really pretty. So that was nice, but it was also a little annoying because I went out there at around 3:45, and it was supposed to start at 4, but the people started talking on their mics around 3:45, and it made it seem like it was going to start soon, but it didn't start for 45 minutes after that because maybe the horses were having trouble getting to that area, and there was just so many delays. So it was really hot out. The sun was just burning and baking everyone, and eventually it did start, of course, but it was, I like it when people are punctual. And I think a lot of events have an issue where they don't actually check to make sure you are allowed in the area. So in the Coliseum, there was just literally a reserved sign that was blocking the entrance that you can just remove magnetically and then walk through. Nobody's checking for anything. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who didn't spend $75 on VIP tickets who were able to go to that area. The schedule seemed a little bit all over the place because I saw on the website that the horse parade was supposed to be at 5 o'clock, for example, maybe on Friday. But when I arrived there and I saw in the pamphlet, it was at a different time. So that's not so good. You want the same information everywhere. I am probably gonna end my night with auto chess as usual, and maybe I'll watch a movie because I loved my experience watching On the Basis of Sex yesterday. It made me cry. I'm a very emotional person. It's very easy to make me cry if your movie is good, and that is when I know that a movie is good. That's actually kind of funny to me how nowadays sometimes if a movie makes me cry, then I know that I will rate that movie at least a 4, because if you make me cry, that must mean you did something right with your storytelling, at least for me, where I care that much about whatever is happening that it makes me feel that way and moved. But one more quick thing that I wanted to say is that surprisingly yesterday, when they were doing the grand entry for all of the Native American tribes onto the floor, I actually teared up a bit because the event actually made me a little sad because I just find it unusual. I know you don't want to hold a grudge. I mean, it's been so long, right? But it felt unusual to me for them to be celebrating their culture with the people or descendants of those who took it from them. And I know that it would make sense for them to still be bitter and want to exclude everybody out of their culture and not share it. But that is just what I thought about when everyone was coming out, and I definitely like teared up because from reading books or watching the movies, and I know movies aren't always entirely true, but it's still a pretty accurate depiction of what happened to them, and it felt like a weird atmosphere to me. So overall though, I did really enjoy the event, but I just wanted to randomly say that because that really took me by surprise yesterday when I teared up. I was like, wow, why am I crying? But it's just stuff for me to think about. I really, really wish their situation didn't happen like it did. All right, so I have everything largely packed. I also have all my trash kind of settled over there near the trash can, and I'd say I will have to do very little packing tomorrow. I put most of everything in my suitcase already, and I have the clothes that I want to wear tomorrow laid out. So the only thing left is just bathroom stuff. I don't want to dread going back too much. Of course, going back has benefits like my computer again and familiarity and cats, although I kind of get the feeling their litter box might be disgusting. The weeks leading up to me taking this vacation, there were moments where I was feeling not too thrilled about the obligations of the working adult life. So I think gradually over the weeks, I started feeling less agitated about it and kind of went back to that normal state of accepting work every day and going there and not feeling too annoyed about it. Sometimes when I'm at work, I definitely have strong feelings of, man, I really don't want to be here. I don't want to think about it too much and dread it too much because it's part of life and you can't be on vacation the whole time, right? So I have Montana coming up. I shouldn't fret too much, but the night before leaving always feels a little sad. It just sucks sometimes that we can't enjoy life as much because we have obligations like that. But I do have the Dota 2 major coming up on Saturday, which is very, very exciting. It's been a very long time since the last major, so I can't wait to watch it. And then they finally announced TI. It's going to be in China, like they announced last year. It's going to be August 20 to the 25th. And I actually used up some of my PTO days when I normally reserve 5 for it. And it's mainly because it's in China, so I was thinking it won't overlap with my work. But the problem is, if I do watch it hardcore, like I like to, it would most likely interfere with work in terms of sleep. How am I gonna watch maybe 8 to 10 hour days of Dota and then go to work at the same time? So if I don't have PTO, I might have to sacrifice some games that aren't my favorite teams. But aside from that though, I would consider asking my manager to kind of reorganize my schedule a little bit because it's once a year and it's an important event to me. So if I could adjust my schedule to accommodate that, that would be amazing. And honestly, I think for most cases, I would like to think that that's not unreasonable because you shouldn't be so rigid. Like, people have things that are meaningful to them, and if it's not super common for them to be changing around their work schedule, then it should be fine. But I feel like anytime I ask for requests like that, I just get met with so much negativity. It's not direct negativity, but it's usually doubt. And whenever I get that reaction, it just really doesn't make me feel happy. And it makes me very annoyed that a simple, harmless request gets met with that feeling. So anyways, that's in August. That's still a while away. I want to try to get in a nice breakfast before I set out. Even though I'm still really bummed out about how much my car repair costed, I should focus more on the fact that I made it here and I went to the powwow both days. I managed to hike 3 days in a row, and I managed to hike with her for 2 days, and she was so tired both days. Hopefully people can understand that I feel like for most of my life, I don't have situations that really throw me off. That's kind of why when I got into the flat tire incident, I was pretty upset over it that day and definitely got angry, impatient, and was just frustrated that I had zero option to make it here. I really couldn't because everyone was closed. So I try to think about that these past few days, that even though I experienced some difficulty, I still managed to, for the most part, experience what I wanted. And I did do everything that I wanted. And at the same time, I feel like I did a pretty good job at managing my time because I exercised, I did a workout every single day. outside of hiking, which is actually technically a workout, I did a separate workout also. So I'm really happy about that because I feel like it's very important to me to try to make sure I don't break that habit, because it's good to keep it up even when you're on vacation. And I like that I can just do it easily here and bring my resistance bands and stuff. So I did that, and I managed to play some chess and watch some movies, and overall it's just been really nice here. So even though this one's coming to a close, I'll have 3 weeks break before I go to Montana. Montana is going to be amazing. And another random thought, I've actually really missed horseback riding. I think it's been nearly 3 weeks since I've ridden. So I really look forward to having hopefully 3 weeks of that before I go to Montana. But now I will finally close this out because I should go to sleep. So I'm rested for the drive tomorrow. So good night, everyone. And here's to hoping my drive is a good one.